After almost a 3-week wait from its original reveal, the Gran Turismo 7 1.49 update is now available. It brings the first new circuit to the game in quite some time, along with some wider changes to the game's underlying physics. It's a pretty big update file, coming in at some 4.87GB on PlayStation 5 and 3.1GB on PlayStation 4. Given that there's a brand new track and 6 cars packed in there though, that should be little surprise. Although we've had the usual update previews, there's still been plenty of information held back until now, so let's dig into all that 1.49 has to offer. Update 1.49 brings back the Eiger Nordwand location and the hardtop track that originally made its debut back in Gran Turismo HD in 2006. You can find it squeezed in between Alsace and Lago Maggiore on the World Circuits map. Unlike other returning tracks, the Eiger Loop is almost entirely unchanged in layout terms. It even has the same 1.51 mile length as the original. There are a couple of detailed changes though, most notable of which is the relocation of the pit lane onto the winding uphill climb, rather than bypassing the hairpin section, where the entry was a useful braking marker. Other than that, the changes are minor. The relatively big jump just after the start is gone, though there is a small crest still, and the access roads for most of the previous off-road courses appear to have been eliminated, but it still feels like the original track to drive. That'll be handy for the new circuit experience, worth 1 million credits for a clean sweep of golds using the Alfa Romeo 4C Group 4, harking back to the 8C Competizione event. There's also a new time trial event at the course starting today and running for the next 2 weeks using the Impreza WRC98. It's arguably more significant in terms of the game in general that new car physics have now been implemented. Details on this have been a little scarce until now, save the insights gleaned from GTWS players who did use the new physics at the event at Montreal. The update patch notes give us a good idea of what's been changed under the hood, though really there's only one way to get a handle on it yourself: getting behind the wheel. It's a pretty wide spread of changes, affecting aspects of suspension, steering, and particularly tyres. Polyphony Digital highlights that suspension geometry calculations have been improved, as well as a damper attenuation, with the goal being a more natural feel. Tyres have seen changes to rolling resistance and grip loss in wet conditions, as well as adjustments to low-speed behaviours. Racing tyres have new heating and degradation characteristics, about which we've heard a little previously. Steering geometry has been updated generally, while the steering on all controllers, wireless pads and steering wheels has also been adjusted. PD notes that an updated force feedback calculation now allows devices to use their full range of torque, with some users of some wheels previously reporting limitations in this area. With all these adjustments at play, there's now new default suspension and aerodynamic settings for all race cars and certain road cars, though it's not been made clear which. Performance point calculations will also see changes to vehicle PP across the board. As one might expect with this change to game physics, times achieved previously are no longer representative of the current game state. That means that all relevant leaderboards, circuit experience, license tests and missions have all been reset. New demonstration runs, where appropriate, are also available. Although we already knew the identities of the 6 new cars and had a good idea of the availability for each of them, it's only now that we know how much they'll all set you back. The lineup is pretty much as we expected, with the new Group 1 racing version of the Genesis Vision GT coming in at the regular 1 million credit pricing and the most expensive of the bunch. Along with the rough RGT 4.2, they're the only 2 update cars available exclusively from Brand Central, while the 2 mid-engined Italians are both available as new or, for a very slight discount, used cars. The Gallardo and F430 Scuderia both appear, as is the norm for new cars in updates, as hot picks right now and are available for the next few days. That also applies to the BMW M3 from 1997, which is the only car exclusively available as a used car. With that in mind, you should probably pick it up as soon as possible, as it's the cheapest as well at 74,500 credits, before it slides into the regular used car rotation. Similarly, the WRC98 model of the Subaru Impreza WRC appears as a Legends car as we expected. That too is made available as a hot pick from today, but it won't be there for long as it'll drop into the rotation for that shop sometime in the next week. At 650,000 credits, it's the second dearest car in the update. Sadly, there's no bonus menu books this month. Fans had been hoping for one of the weekly challenge special events, the JGTC one in particular, to become a bonus book, But there is a new extra menu book. Be warned though, it's a very expensive one. That's because you'll be collecting McLaren models for extra menu book number 40, simply named McLaren, starting with one of the priciest and most rarely seen cars in the game. You'll need to own at least one McLaren F1 from 1994, which is priced at 20 million credits in Legend cars at the moment, alongside the less expensive MP4-12C, and the standard Ultimate Vision Gran Turismo, which became the basis for the Goodwood winning Solus. There's a slightly disappointing prize for this book by the way of a 6-star roulette ticket. This will only award you with a brand central car worth over $500,000, or either $500,000 or 1 million credits as a cash sum, making the reward no better than a seventh of the outlay of collecting the vehicles. 5 new races are also available across existing World Circuits events, largely dedicated to the new road cars and unsurprisingly centering on the new Eiger Nordwand course. That'll host the European Sunday Cup 500, which is good for the BMW, in a 3-lap race worth 35,000 credits for a victory, and the World Rally Challenge Group B for a reverse course race over 12 laps and a 135,000 credit winner's spot. Unrelated to the update cars, there's also a round of the Jimny Cup at the venue for 40,000 credits over 4 laps. Elsewhere, the Tuner Special World Touring Cars 600 event now adds Road Atlanta to its track set for a 5-lap race worth 94,000 credits and suitable for any of the 3 supercars in this update. The F430 is also an obvious pick for the Ferrari Circuit Challenge, which makes a long overdue stop at Monza for a 5-lap 90,000 credit race. 10 new engine swaps are also available with the update, with quite an eclectic mix, but once again sticking to the established pattern that each car may only have one alternative engine. You can find the full list of these detailed in our forum in the link in the description. It'll be no surprise to learn that Eiger also features in the newest set of scapes, with 10 locations from around the area. This matches up with what we saw in the Sony Creators Conference video back in August 2023. All 10 scenes measure on snow, mainly in low or partial light, and are shot around the Kleiner Scheidegg area upon which the track is also based. Wheel fans will be pleased to learn that along with 8 new options for work, there's a new brand available in GT Auto. Pokal Custom Felgen, an LA-based wheel manufacturer, now has 15 new wheels for application to suitable cars, as well as decals in the presets for the livery editor. Speaking of decal presets, the high-speed Etoile anime stickers added in Update 1.44 for a limited time have now reached their time limit and been removed. One intriguing change comes in missions. The difficulty settings for the Tsukuba Circuit 1-hour race, which many fans have long felt were flipped so the easy was the hardest, have finally been adjusted. We'll have to find out what that means specifically, but it'll likely address that issue. Finally, and for PS5 players only, the GT Sophie options have been expanded to 2 new circuits. There's a 1-lap event at the Nürburgring 24-hour track, and, depending on difficulty, a 2 or 3-lap race at Autodrome Lago Maggior's full course. Naturally, every GT update also includes the note that various other issues have been addressed, and 1.49 is no different. Our community will be uncovering further details over the coming days in a dedicated, undocumented changes thread over on our website. That's all for now though, enjoy the update everybody, and we'll hopefully see you again very, very soon.